Now, the virtual home for everyday objects that we think will become obsolete, not in the future, but today.
The Museum of Now is a technology-based infotainment series in which 3 presenters search for the everyday objects and items that they believe are already obsolete and consign them into the online virtual museum.
Not because they're unfashionable, but because they're outdated, unnecessary and quite simply past it.
The team must establish all the facts and figures.
More than 2 million of them are bought in the UK every year.
Search for the evidence on location.
Excuse me, do you use cheques here?
Yeah.
Do you take cheques here?
No.
And present all of the arguments.
Why bother with books when you can Google your questions and Wikipedia your answers?
Before debating the objects with expert guests and contributors.
How close are we to finding a real alternative to the cheque?
Well, that's the thing, you see. People have been saying there ought to be an alternative for ages. The cheque's been with us for 1,000 years, since the 9th century, and actually it's got a pretty good pedigree.
The next generation is so important, and we've got to protect them. With the threat of oil running out, we've really got to look at low-emission or no-emission cars which don't run on oil.
They'll set challenges in the studio.
Both ready? Your time starts now.
And let the audience join in the debate.
So, what's your name?
Lee.
And what kind of car is it that you drive?
It's a Nissan Leaf.
And why did you buy that?
You have to think about the environment, and the missus told me to get it, so...
But it's up to the presenters to decide which objects can enter the Museum of Now.
For me, it has to go in. Reason being is because of the convenience. When that instant arrives, I want to have my mobile phone with my camera there.
At the end of the day, who has a chequebook these days and relies on them? There are alternatives like internet banking, BACS payment, Foster payments, for goodness sake.
For me, this is the easiest one of the day because this is 2011, not 1911. So I'm afraid the encyclopedia is going in to the museum.
Each item that enters the virtual museum will be preserved online for future generations.
So that's it. The first objects have gone into the Museum of Now.
Log on to museumofnow.co.uk to learn more about the objects that we've just put in.
And keep your suggestions coming in too for objects that you think should go into the museum.
What would you put into the Museum of Now?